me all? Yep. Yeah, I would like to first begin with thanking Masoud and all the organizers for inviting me to talk about some of the stuff that I do professionally. I'm not going to dive into what I do academically because that's going to be quite boring for you. But hopefully you're going to learn something from it, and I learn from your questions and observations. You'll have to excuse my annoying sound, and that's because of my sinuses, and I've been told that this is man flu, but whatever it is, that's what it is. So agility in improving services, as Masoud alluded to, as a service provider, or as a company, whenever you go out to the business and you go to talk to your customers, they are expecting top-notch services from you. And the challenges you come across with those services, they can really convert them into opportunities that could be translated to dollar values or risk mitigations, these sort of things. But just quickly to talk a little bit about myself, in addition to what Masoud alluded to, I work at Auckland Transport as a continual service improvement manager. Prior to that, I was the online services manager, where I was supporting all the online presence of Auckland Transport in terms of the website and the back-end systems such as CRM, identity management, SharePoint, and whatnot. But what my passion is actually cooking and traveling and these sort of things. That's what I want to do in the future. I want to make one little disclaimer, is that at the moment I'm not representing Auckland Transport during this speech. Neither do I represent Massey University. So if you have any questions about about Auckland Transport and Massey University, you will have to refer to them. So before I dive into the actual topic, I would like to clarify some of the concepts too, so I can just set the scenes as to what are those, what are the theoretical backgrounds of some of the ideas discussed in the topic. And first of all, what are the services? We would like to know what services are, and around that, what are the products? What do we mean by products? How the products and services are related? What are the improvement items when you are starting to develop them? What is Kanban? Probably some of you heard of Kanban board and these sort of things. What are the frameworks currently available for improving your services? Because you can't just hanky-dory start and say, I'm going to be improving my services. You will have to start with some sort of methodologies. And these methodologies are practiced everywhere by a lot of big companies such as Toyota and so on and so forth. ITIL defines services, and this is quite a mouthful, saying that it's a means of delivering value to customers by facilitating outcomes customers want to achieve without the ownership of specific cost and risk. It's basically saying that once you sell your services to your customers, they do not care what costs or technologies you are using. So for example, if you are buying services from Spark, they don't care what technologies you use. I just want to have a broadband. I want to have internet. We at Auckland Transport have our own definition, because once you apply these methodologies in your organization, you will really have to tailor them to how your culture and structure is inside. So we define services as intangible activities bought by our customers, and providing outcomes that are of value to them without worrying about risk and cost of the underlying technology. Auckland Transport provides parking services, we provide roading services, provide buses, trains, and this sort of thing. These are all services that Auckland Transport provides. We do not sell any technology or products. So, but what do we mean by products? Products are capabilities that the customers interact with to consume or manage the services that your organization provides. Again, it's basically saying that in order to consume these services, you will have to have products. And when I say to consume or manage, because maybe your customers are your internal staff that using the product to consume services. So for example, if you have HR services, what are the products that my staff need to be interacting with to consume the HR services? So probably the SAP is one of the products that the staff interact with to consume services. And again, when you want to use the parking services that Auckland Transport use, you will have multiple options. You have the AT Park app that you can use to park your cars. You can use the kiosk to pay for your parking. So parking is the intangible. You pay for it, but the technology is the products that you interact with. Again, for example, broadband that I just talked about, service from Spark. The internet is a service, and the product could be the modem that you use the modem to consume the internet services. Same applies to Sky TV. The service is premium TV services, but the packages and devices are the products. So just wanted to clarify this concept. So this is a model of what services really mean. The top layer is a service, and you have multiple products. So each product, so your service could be comprised of multiple services. As I was saying, parking services could have multiple products. The kiosk, you can pay cash, you can pay the device, you can pay by plate numbers and these sort of things. And at the same time, your product could be, this product could be supporting multiple services. So all of that is the underlying, the basics for all of that is people, processes, policies, legislations, applications, middlewares, infrastructure, network, and data. This whole lot needs to be improved if you want to improve your services. So at any point in time, when you say I'm going to be improving my products or services, you will have to look at all of these things. You cannot forget about all of these things, those ones. So those underlining bricks could be summarized into 5 Ps, which I will talk about in a second. The other concept that we need to be aware of is improvement items are just identified opportunities. When I say improvement items, they are just identified opportunities. Kanban is, for those who are not familiar, is just a visualized process workflow tool that enables individuals, teams, organizations to manage work through a shared understanding of processes. I'll give you an example shortly, but it's basically you have identified a lot of improvements in your organizations, and you want to take it through the process of delivering those improvements. You first have to identify what those improvements are, and then put them under to do. They will just be here, and then once you are delivering them, they might be under progress or code review or done. And those items are assigned to people. If you have identified all these improvements, you can easily share it with the management, with your customers. Say, look, at any point in time, these are all the improvements that are in the pipeline. The most important bit is really you have to be aware of is the timeline and the resources allocated to those improvement items. But why a framework? Because without a framework, to deliver your improvement in your organizations, you will come across all these challenges. Just quickly go through them, and they are really real. They are based on experience that our organization faced before implementing a framework that we have developed from ground up. The framework we have developed is based on a couple of other frameworks that I'll come to it in a second, but we found out that you will end up with lack of resource planning, lack of integrated staging environment, test environment, pre-prod environment, and production. It will be a chaos. No visibility of core services, no optimized service desk tool sets. I can share these slides with you. I'm not going to go through everything, but you will end up having your project failed. That's for sure, if you do not have a proper framework to implement the improvements. So at the moment, there are 2 major improvement framework. One of them is called Lean, the other one is Six Sigma. Lean is developed by Toyota in Japan, and that's the most famous one. Six Sigma is developed in the United States, which looks into implementing improvements through improvement project with staging gates. Kaizen is quite simple. It's just to PDCA, plan, do, act, and check. It's way faster. You identify it, plan it, do it, act, and check. Keep going, keep going. Once you deliver one of the improvements, you have to review it, and then if you're not happy with it, let's put a schedule around it. Six Sigma, you will have to define it, measure it, analyze it, improve it, control it. It's quite good, but it's more suited to bigger projects. And if you're based in the United States, chances are you will go with that. To learn more about these two methodologies, you can go to this link. But how do we do it at Auckland Transport? We borrow a concept from both, from Lean Kaizen and from Six Sigma. So we identify the improvements, we plan it, we execute it and review it. We constantly do that. We act like sponges. We listen to people. We get customer feedback. We listen to the system-generated alerts. We combine all of these feedbacks and then channel them through prioritization process, and then deliver it. I'll show you how we do that. This is a more detailed version. I won't bore you with that because it's basically the same thing, but if I show you an example, it's probably going to be a lot more easier as to how we do it. So a little bit about that's a bit of background. The topic is agility in improving services. When I say agility, is actually borrowing some concept from agile project management as well, where you have work items, you have scrum masters, and you deliver it in, you package your improvements into sprints and then deliver it based on their timelines. We package improvements based on their either similarities, level of complexities, or urgency. So these three things. Again, it's similarity, level of complexity or simplicity, or urgency. Some little packages could be delivered, could be put together because they are quite the same. Like for example, I want to make a change in the website, and probably we need to add one field in the website. You package all of these things together and deliver it in one go. Or complexity. This package is really complex to deliver because we need to change the entire look and feel of the one of the forms. You do it in one go. Urgency. There's a huge bug in the system. We have to do it now, or tomorrow, or yesterday. So that's how we do it. What are the channels for receiving improvements? So these are all the known channels, really. If you want to start your improvement project, these are the main channels that you will have to look into. The major one is customer feedback. If you're a service provider, you will have customers. Even if you're internal customers, listen to their feedbacks, and they are super important. System-generated notifications. There could be error messages, could be warnings, and these sort of things. Disk running out of space. CRM is not working. The Power BI is not giving us the right information, and probably anecdotal evidences. Someone gives you a water cooler information, you go for a coffee and give you a complaint about some of the systems. You will have to listen to all of that. A root cause analysis, once you have an incident or there's a problem, chances are you will have to do a bit of root cause analysis as to what caused this incident. Request or incident tickets. Customers will be raising requests and incidents. Project lessons learned. So when you deliver a project, what are the lessons learned? And the other important source is audits. Whoever is performing the audit. The audits are quite important because they go through your systems and your processes thoroughly. So just one thing, when you do improvement, it's not just system improvement. You are probably going to be doing process improvement. You probably doing training improvement. Some of your systems could be just improved by providing better training for your customers or for your internal staff. If you can think of anything else, please by all means let me know. I'll add it to my framework. So how about what are the channels for implementing those improvement ideas? You can either reach out to existing agile projects based on the relevance. Say, look, I've captured all these improvement ideas. It is relevant to your project. How about if you deliver them? And by all means, if there is an agile project, chances are it's indefinite. It will go forever. Or if it is super important, it's high risk, start a new project. Raise it with your management and say, look, this project is costing us such and such money. So that's one idea, is try to translate every single improvement to dollar value or risk profile. Otherwise, the business will not listen to you. The business is running, hunky-dory, and they say no one would like to, they put their head down. But as soon as you tell them about the dollar value and risk profile, they would listen. Or if it is a small improvement, they just send it to the existing support team or suppliers who are supporting your systems, processes, or trainings and whatnot. Oh, I'm running out of time. It's a bit of a challenge to compress everything that I do into 15 minutes. But quickly go through this one. How to manage improvements. Really, let's go to the next slide. When you try to implement your improvements, structure it into 4 levels. One is, what is your objective? What is your vision? What is your target? And that is the epics. I'm using Azure DevOps, probably Leila knows about it. So what is your objective? And that is the top level epic. What is your feature? And that's because feature would be your requirements. What is the required? What is your vision, and what is the requirements for this vision? What are the steps? Level 3 is, what are the steps you need to take to get you there, and what are the tasks? All of these needs to be assigned to people. I'm sorry if I'm talking quite fast, because as I said, run out of time. But these 4 levels are quite important to be there, because without that, people wouldn't know what to do. And you can create as many tasks as you like. It's like you have an arrow, all these arrows, they call it fishbone. These fishbones have multiple streams that lead into it, but these streams need to be assigned to people. This is an actual project that I'm currently working on. It's modernizing, it's called Modern Workplace Services. Basically, how can we improve the systems and processes we are providing to our end users, like the desktops, the presentation materials, the projectors, and this sort of thing. How can we improve the Wi-Fi and this sort of things? So we've identified a bunch of visions, and we identify the requirements, then the steps, level 3, and then the tasks. These tasks are given to support engineers, suppliers, and whatnot. We get there, and it's working just fine. Every week we get together and identify new objectives and track them like this. So all the new items is put here. This is the Kanban again, and the active items are here. The ones that have been resolved, the ones that have been closed are here. Pretty simple. In conclusion, in order to improve your services, you will need to improve the 5 Ps. And the 5 Ps are people, products, processes, policies, and partners. Partners is a bit of vendor management. You have to make them work for you. Translate improvements, opportunities to dollar values or risk profiles. And last but not least, it's super important to measure. You cannot improve if you cannot measure. Thank you very much. That's all from me. Cheers. Any questions?